This is Monday, March 4th, 2019. It is 6 p.m. This is the regular board meeting for the Village of Pulaski, held at Pulaski Village Hall, 585 East Glenbrook Drive, Pulaski, Wisconsin. I've noticed that there is a larger than normal crowd. Anybody that, when we do open the floor, that wants to address the board, please state your name and where you're from, and then you can talk when recognized, okay? We appreciate that. Roll call and pledge.
Gordy Black.
Present.
Bruce Bichkuski.
Present.
Roger Bichkuski.
Present.
Robert Gajewski.
Here.
Doug Prentice.
Present.
Chris Smith.
Present.
And Reed Woodward.
Here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 2, motion to approve the agenda as presented
So moved.
by Doug,
I'll second.
second by Bruce. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 3, motion to open the public hearing for a petition for CSM, Certified Survey Map, Quick Trip Incorporated, petitioner/owner, 1626 Oak Street, La Crosse, Wisconsin, 54602. Agent for the petitioner/owner is Brian L. Pfeffer, 1250 Centennial Center Boulevard, Hobart, Wisconsin, 54155. Request for a certified survey on parcel VP-41-2-1, vacant land, Markham Drive, Pulaski. Legal description of the property being divided is all of Lot 1, Volume 60 of the Certified Surveys map, page 331. Total number of lots 2, total number of outlots not available. Acreage dedicated to the public not available. Total acreage is 3.949 acres.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
By Doug.
Second.
Aye. Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion. Okay, board. You've seen that the lot is going to be split up into 2 separate parcels. And further down, you're going to see another public hearing asking to petition for rezoning.
I guess I'm kind of curious, how big are lots within the industrial park? Is 4 acres kind of common? Is that on the small end? Is that on the large end?
That's not on the small end. One lot that we currently own is close to the same size as this
Okay.
one.
And that's off of East Cedar Street?
Yes.
Okay. So that lot is still available.
It's still available.
This lot that we're speaking of is available. Do we have any other parcels that are available within that industrial park?
No. The vacant land that's there is owned by either MCL or Baytech, and they're hanging on to it for future expansion.
Okay. I know we have some jumbo developments within there taking up several acres.
The land on the north side of town, is that meant for industrial, or
We're calling it a business
park, so not really for an industrial?
We've owned that land since 2005 and didn't identify it as a potential business park until about 2010, 2011.
Okay.
So what is
And
that
nobody's really
park?
kicked the tires on it yet.
Yeah. What is that park zoned as then, our North Business Park?
It's just open zoned right now.
Okay. Not zoned. Oh. Agriculture, then it would
Yeah,
probably
we're
go back
leaving
to
it
what it was
agriculture
previous.
to keep the, you know, farming it to keep the weeds down,
Mhm.
basically is
Mhm.
what we're doing.
Doug, maybe just mention this, that I'm sure everyone on the board read their reports and what have you, and this goes back to the planning and zoning meeting that we had, and a vote was taken, and obviously it's self-explanatory. We had enough pros and cons in regards to that lot. I guess this one from Aaron and Jennifer Schutte explained it all quite well, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm baffled, I would have to say, because obviously the village would benefit by letting the lot be turned into commercial or business, but yet it's affecting other businesses. So I'm curious to see what you have to say, what Gordy has to say, what Reed has to say. Bob was at the meeting, Bruce was at the meeting, as well as Chris and myself.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to hear what your input is, and Reed's and Gordy's. Here,
Most of us had nothing to do with it, but years ago, we allowed development of storage space in our industrial park, which employs
nobody.
0 people.
Yeah.
And it's a nice chunk of land, and
Yeah.
they don't make land every day, you know, and it's a resource that we have here in our industrial park, and it's our industrial park. Why hasn't it been developed already? Is it that it is too small, that 4 acres? Well, if we further subdivide it, okay, maybe we get development on 2 acres, and we still have 2 acres undeveloped. If it were 4 acres, does that suit some industrial type use where we can put many people to work?
But,
We want to be patient for the right growth.
yeah,
In our comprehensive plan, not many of us were involved in this plan, but we got it when it was all done, and we didn't really say too much about that need or that changing to future commercial growth rather than industrial growth. We have several companies that started out very small, you know, just a decent sized building and a little bit of a parking lot, and then grown from there. I'd hate to miss out on future industrial
right.
growth
Yeah.
because of,
But yet, do we pass this opportunity up? I mean, it was
Right.
stated, you know, it'll affect our taxes. It's going to be beneficial for the village
yep.
if that goes through, but
I don't think we can really look at, you know, you mentioned how impact on any other businesses. We can't really, that's not our job. You know, that's free market, that's
Yeah.
capitalism. We don't make the judgment based off of that. We have to make it on all the other merits of the case.
I don't think I agree with that, though. Because the village is only 3,500 people. And when you have a monopoly of 2, 3, 4 different businesses of the same, you're gonna drive somebody else out. And so, as I was looking at this, our industrial, per the 2017 comprehensive plan, it says the industrial land uses are heavily concentrated on the east side of South 32 and in the village's industrial park. The industrial park includes a mixture of large and small manufacturing enterprises and is close to capacity. And then, so my viewpoint is that why would you give up that land for retail versus manufacturing? That land's only been for sale, or had been for sale, was sold the first time 4 years ago. It's not like we had that to develop all along.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't.
At that point, Marquis was owner of it for
That's
the
correct.
sake of their future development, so
That's
it
correct.
really hasn't been on the market.
That's correct.
Okay.
I mean, it
And
seems-
in regards to, I got a few more points here I'd like to point out, is that also in the comprehensive plan, it says a diverse economy and business growth opportunities. That's what we're trying to support. In ensuring compatibility of adjoining land uses for existing and future development. Also, that the desire on the economic development side of our goals is to work with businesses and industries already in the village to ensure they are able to expand and remain in Pulaski. So adding potentially 2 different businesses that already exist in Pulaski, why don't we find something else? And something that would be better suited for that property. There was a segment on one of the national stations yesterday in regards to Family Dollar and Dollar General, and that there's a fight right now going on in regards to how close they can be located close to each other. And I believe that was in one of the southern states where they were developed. So the fight is that they can't be within so many, it's not law yet, but it's within so much distance of each other. And the other point was that neither one of those, and I don't know for sure that that's what's coming to Pulaski, but it was talked about, that neither one of them offered vegetables and fresh fruit and that kind of thing, which was a big hindrance. And I think, well, you know, if that's the case, and that's going to be how they look at them, we have a grocery store right down the street. So the point being, we don't need duplicates in Pulaski, and we need to be patient and wait for what really should be going there. That's my opinion. And I'm looking at it as an economic development side. I realize that people have said competition is good. We have 3,500 people in Pulaski. Competition of 3, 4, 5 different entities is not the best. If we're talking about downtown buildings that are available, we got those. You want another building to go out of business? I just don't feel that it's that's the best use of that property. And if we're looking for manufacturing, let's look for it. And so that's what I have to say.
Manufacturing, that's something that Pulaski's been known for a long time.
Good workforce.
Correct.
Yeah,
And
people.
Yeah.
I realize it's few and far between, but if we want higher paying jobs here, we need to look for that and use our land best for that.
I would like, are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. I'd like to say, yeah, no, I was one of the people who voted against the petition to rezone. And, I mean, it was unclear in my mind whether that was a good decision or not. And one of the things that I
that kind of stuck in my head was, we're talking about rezoning this for businesses that we, think that there's enough of already. But the land is not ours. I mean, it was bought by Quick Trip. And speaking for myself, I mean, that would have to be rezoned for exactly the same thing. And I would not.
To kind of flesh this out, they would have asked for a change of zoning so they could have built a gas station there. But what they didn't realize when they bought the land was our well was right there. And there's no way the DNR is going to sign off, allow a gas station right next to a well.
And I will say that, speaking for myself, I mean, I wouldn't have had a problem rezoning it for Quick Trip. And if you think about it, we already had, 3 gas stations here in Pulaski? And that was a 4th one? I wouldn't have had a problem with that. Now, again, I voted against this one, but that's one of the things in the back of my head that, was that the right decision? I don't know for sure. And if you think of it, we are in the works to help out our downtown. We are getting the Prince Street turned over to apartment complex. Well, we have other apartment complexes with another one being built besides that one, which is the same thing again. And so again, I mean, I guess I'm kind of confused myself as to what the right thing to do is on this kind of thing. I want to protect our downtown especially, because we're having enough problems downtown. But if you look at it, well, it's $10,000 or so a year for Pulaski taxes, and you know what, every time budget comes around, that's another thing, and so it's, I mean, I right now I have an open mind, and people can convince me one way or the other about what the right thing to do is, because I don't know what the right thing to do is.
I had the same talking over to myself, reading everything probably 3 or 4 times. I'm not part of the P&Z, but like I said, I was at the meeting, I talked to Kristen, I talked to different people. Yes, we could use the tax base, that would be great. But I think what wants to go in there, I think it's too much of a specialty shop, let's say, compared to what a gas station is. And I agree, I don't think we're big enough to support it, in my opinion. That's my opinion.
That one I'd have to disagree with you. If we're looking for the residents that just live in Pulaski, yeah, we're light. But if you look at MCL and you look at Baytech and the numbers that they employ, Marquee, they employ, school district, they employ, you're looking at like around 1,200 to 1,300 additional people. So
okay.
I think there is the opportunity to support those. It's just, is that the right one to support? Okay. I look at the tax base also. I'm the freshman on this team here and the rookie, and quite frankly, in the matter of looking at it, it dismays me a little bit. And the reason I've had numerous conversations about the budget, because I come from private. I don't know public. I don't understand that, and I'm learning. But golly, if that additional dollars could be something that would be of assistance, then I think we have to consider it. And I get where Chris is coming from as far as what the impact would be if it is an auto parts dealer, whatever the situation is. We're not going to get the ideal business in there anytime soon, unless we have someone that is working to get that business in here. Hence, I think it goes to the volume of, I'll speak on something else, that this village does need an administrator. That administrator is out there beating the ground, beating the bushes, doing everything possible for he or she, for that we will have these situations come up more often. Mm-hmm. So that we have, whether it be manufacturing, whether we have the business. I don't think that person's gonna be the God's gift to everything walking in. I think we've had some poor experiences in the past. But with that being said, we gotta work at it. We gotta work at it, and to rezone that, and the thing, I look at I look at this too, Chris. You know, and who would think that that little section of going red, okay, on the 2017 plan, okay, who approved that? Who changed it? That's a question I have. Looking at you guys, I would say none of us knew. But somehow it got changed to where it was commercial. And if I'm looking at this plan, which should be our Bible in many, many ways, as Chris so, I don't know, it's just, it doesn't feel that good.
So if it was zoned already industrial, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now, correct?
The zoning has not changed.
It is industrial.
Industrial, okay. So if it was zoned the other way,
Commercial.
commercial, this,
Or highway business.
right,
Right.
they can put it in.
The comprehensive plan was a document that took 2 years to do. And I think Aaron Schutte, because the land got sold, I think he probably assumed that it could go either or. But the color on the map changed, but the zoning did not change.
There was a conversation between a few people, not necessarily the people on this board, and a
Planning and
few
zoning.
planning and zoning and a few community members.
I'd like to just interject this, and I'm going to condense it. How am I going to vote? With my head or with my heart? Everybody has valid reasons for or against. Let's look at Shopko. Now look what Shopko did to Seymour. They left them without a store, a drugstore, pharmacy. Pulaski, I never thought Karch Ford would leave Pulaski, never in a day. I never thought Fort Howard would sell out. But I think if we have an auto parts store there, you can pretty much guarantee there's going to be an empty building somewhere out of it. But again, do I vote with my head or my heart? Or I would suggest maybe, seeing the floor is open, maybe some other folks could interject something that would be beneficial for us to decide.
I would like to make a motion to open the floor.
I'll second it.
Second by Bruce. All in favor?
Aye.
Kristen?
I have several thoughts, so I don't know if this
Name,
is...
please.
My name is Kristen Fish Peterson, and I'm at 722 Traveler Lane in Madison, Wisconsin. Economic development consultant to the village since probably 2013 or 2012. I've spent a lot of time trying to recruit new business to Pulaski. I've spent a lot of time focusing on downtown. I've spent a lot of time also responding to RFPs or requests for information regarding industrial developments. And we haven't had a new industrial development on a piece of undeveloped property since I've been here that I can remember. We've had expansions of existing companies. But now we have a parcel that originally sold for 1/3 of the price that it's being asked to sell for now. If it's privately owned, it's gonna cost a lot of money, whereas the village of Pulaski has a piece of property, a couple acres in the back of the industrial park. I think new infrastructure has gone in to open up more land to what would be the southeast off of the industrial park that you have now. That would be an opportunity. for the future if you had more. You also have the 32 acres in the North Business Park if you had a development interested. If you have a parcel now that if you do leave it industrial and deny a highway business zoning, rezoning, it's 4 acres, you'll get maybe a 10,000 square foot building, maybe at what, $75 a square foot. It's not going to be the impact to the tax base that a commercial development would, which usually has a higher value of construction and amenities, that kind of thing. I am strictly talking from is Pulaski open for development perspective? That as an economic development consultant, we see other communities shut the door to certain developments, no matter what they are, and pretty soon they're labeled as not being open to development. And it's a challenge for me as someone who's trying to recruit business, especially downtown, to know that if there's going to be a similar business coming to town as any other business in town, that it won't be welcomed because we don't, I'm trying to take a very anonymous or vanilla or unemotional approach to this, but is Pulaski open for business? Are you interested in expanding your tax base? Are you welcome to commerce? And that's just one perspective that I want to share right now. I know we're kind of on the CSM agenda item, and I think you have another public hearing on the rezoning itself, but it's been frustrating to work in the village and try really hard to bring someone here and bring someone here and bring someone here. I had nothing to do with recruiting this development, but I will say that it's going to send a message if you turn a development down to the next developer that comes to town. Is their development going to reach the same roadblock? So that's...
Thank you.
Again, I would just echo what Kristen just said, that we're really talking about the CSM, not about the rezoning yet, so I know it's sort of one big picture here, but let's look at the CSM part of it first.
So if it's 4 acres and it gets cut in half, one of the concerns is that it's too small for future development, right? 4 acres might be looked at as a little bit small. I think that was pointed out in the letter from DeWitt law firm. Kind of goes hand in hand with all the other decisions that have to be made around this.
So I'm Brody Richter from DeWitt LLP in Madison, 2 East Mifflin Street. My letter is the one I think was just referenced by Doug. I don't want to talk too much about the CSM because I think you raised a really good point. I mean, it's a little bit of a chicken before the egg problem. Do I think that a subdivision of an industrial parcel from 4 to 2 acres makes sense if it stays industrial? Absolutely not. No one's going to buy those parcels. The interest here obviously is to subdivide it if we're going to do a commercial development, which I think in that case, and Mr. Waller can speak to this, but in that case, two acre parcels, Todd feels are very developable. As everybody has indicated, there is already an interested party in one of the parcels. I know there have been rumors about a dollar store on the other parcel. As of right now, there's no discussions going on.